Ghana's explosive growth after kicking the West out, a new African power. Once dismissed as just another post-colonial African state following Western economic models, Ghana is now lighting the way for a bold, new African future. After decades of dependency, foreign aid, and exploitative contracts with Western powers, Ghana has chosen a different path, one that has left many in Washington, London, and Brussels stunned. This is the story of how Ghana kicked the West out, reclaimed its destiny, and triggered an economic and cultural explosion that is shaking the continent. For years, Ghana was held up as the West's poster child for stability and democracy in Africa. But behind the scenes, the country was being drained. Multinational corporations from the West extracted gold, oil, and cocoa, while leaving behind poverty, pollution, and growing public debt. Structural adjustment programs by the IMF and World Bank crippled local industries. Aid became a trap. Sovereignty was a slogan, not a reality. But that's no longer the case. Everything began to shift when Ghana's leaders started rejecting the neo-colonial playbook. No more blind signing of IMF loans. No more rigged resource deals. Instead, Ghana began asserting control over its natural wealth. In 2022, the government introduced the Gold for Oil program, a revolutionary barter strategy that swapped Ghana's gold for fuel, bypassing the dollar and cutting out Western middlemen. This bold move stunned financial analysts around the world. Ghana was no longer playing by the rules, it was writing new ones. And the results? Nothing short of explosive. The Ghana Beyond Aid agenda, once dismissed as political rhetoric, has turned into real policy. Billions are now being invested in roads, hospitals, schools, and renewable energy, not by Western donors, but by Ghanaians themselves and new partners like China, Turkey, India, and the UAE. Instead of aid, Ghana is now seeking equal partnerships based on trade, tech transfer, and mutual respect. At the heart of this revival is youth innovation. Accra is becoming West Africa's Silicon Valley, with booming tech hubs like MEST and Impact Hub nurturing a new generation of coders, entrepreneurs, and problem solvers. Mobile banking, agri-tech, and AI startups are scaling fast. Ghanaian youth are no longer waiting for handouts, they're building the future. The shift isn't just digital, it's deeply local. Ghana's push for industrialization and self-reliance has led to a renaissance in manufacturing and agriculture. The One District, One Factory initiative is bringing small-scale industries to rural areas, creating jobs, and reducing urban migration. Products once imported from rice to clothes to electronics are now proudly made in Ghana. This economic awakening is rooted in a deeper cultural and ideological revolution. Inspired by Pan-African thinkers like Kwame Nkrumah and Thomas Sankara, Ghana is reclaiming its identity, its pride, and its narrative. Schools are teaching African history from an African perspective. Statues of colonial figures are being replaced by heroes of liberation. The youth chant Africa for Africans, and they mean it. African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, HQ in Accra. Let's not forget, Ghana is also at the heart of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the largest free trade zone in the world. With Accra hosting the AFCFTA Secretariat, Ghana is positioning itself as a gateway for Pan-African commerce, innovation, and diplomacy. It's not just rising alone, it's pulling the region forward. Western media headlines predicting collapse, juxtaposed with booming Ghanaian infrastructure. Of course, critics in the West warned of economic doom. They said rejecting the IMF would lead to hyperinflation. They claimed the gold for oil deal would backfire. They painted Ghana as reckless. But reality has proven them wrong. Yes, the transition hasn't been without challenges. Inflation did spike, and fiscal reforms are ongoing, but the trajectory is undeniable. Ghana is taking back control. And in doing so, it has become a symbol of what's possible when African nations say enough is enough to exploitation and dependency. What we're witnessing in Ghana is bigger than one country. It's a continental awakening. From Burkina Faso to Mali, from Niger to Congo, the message is spreading: Africa doesn't need permission to rise. It needs ownership, unity, and courage. Ghana is proving that sovereignty isn't just a political idea, it's an economic strategy, a cultural revolution, and a spiritual return to self. This isn't just about resisting the West. It's about rebuilding Africa from the ground up. So, when people ask why everyone is talking about Ghana right now, this is why. It's not just gold or oil. It's not just the growth stats. It's the rebirth of a nation that said no to exploitation and yes to itself. Ghana is no longer waiting for development to trickle down. It's digging deep, rising fast, and showing the world what real independence looks like. And to the rest of Africa, the message is loud and clear. We don't need saviors. We need sovereignty. Ghana Rising, Africa Awakening. Subscribe for more truth the mainstream won't show you. Ghana kicked out the West and boom, the economy exploded. Gold for oil. Tech hubs. Made in Ghana everything. Africa is rising, and it starts here.